Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Thursday morning to you, and happy first day of spring, although it's not really going to feel like it today. Like the overnight hours, it was like 70 degrees, and now temperatures are on the way down, and we started getting rain here in the Kanawha Valley a couple of hours ago, and some areas could see some snow flurries. Not a big deal, but it may be kind of shocking considering it was 86 when I left the studio yesterday. And then when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be about 28 degrees here in the Kanawha Valley. But anyway, it's March, and it's West Virginia. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group. Your next ride and your next service can be found on US 119. From Chapmanville to Logan to Belfry, Kentucky. Start your drive online, thornhillautomotive.com. We do the show from the Jarrett Construction Studios. Right on time, right on budget. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services courtesy of West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, Virginia Street. Tony's Emmanuel Berg Custom Trunk Show featuring exclusive custom shirts and luxury sportswear going on today. Buy 3 shirts, get 1 free, and take 25% off all sportswear. Plus, check out Tony's bespoke tailored suits, jackets, and trousers. For more, visit his Facebook page or bestmastertailor.com. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, we're going to talk to Greg Thomas from Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse, noted Republican strategist. Going to pick his brain on several things. Always entertaining when Mr. Thomas joins us in studio. Also, of course, day 3 of the Boys State Basketball Tournament at the Coliseum Convention Center. Daytime games heard on Charleston's ESPN Radio, 106.7 FM, 1490 AM. Nighttime games here on the WCHS network. And a reminder, if you haven't done so, download the Metro News television app and get ready to see all 4 championship games on your device, whatever. You can project it to your TV or your laptop or your phone or whatever, coming up on Saturday. And also, at the end of this show, time permitting, if those guys are up and raring to go, we'll send you to the state capitol, and we'll check in with Wilson and Meadows as they begin get ready to broadcast from yet another exciting day under the dome. I got something on that I want to say a little bit later on as well. But history was made recently as the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, led by Sheriff Joe Crawford, named Lieutenant Anna Pyle as the first female chief of detectives in the department's history. She joins us this morning in the Jarrett Construction Studios. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a little about you. Was law enforcement something you always wanted to do growing up, something you got into later? Give us the bio on Anna Pyle.
Oh, the bio, I would say it's been a gradual progression toward law enforcement. I can give the blanket answer I know most police officers are going to say is I got into law enforcement to help people, and that's absolutely true. But there's a lot more to that. I grew up watching, Miami Vice. I thought that was an awesome show. I was sneaking in the hallway to watch that while my parents thought I was in bed.
Were you able to ascertain or to figure out as a detective how they afforded those cars? Did you figure that out yet? Because
we have yet to get those cars.
So. You're not in a Countach? Is that what you're saying? Right. You're not in the Ferrari? Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
And then, to be honest, one of my favorite movies was Silence of the Lambs. So that got me thinking along the federal side of law enforcement. Luckily, I attended West Virginia State, and I got to play softball there, so I was there on a scholarship, so that kept me here. And then I majored in criminal justice while there. And
big shout out to West Virginia State.
Absolutely. It was a state college back then. Obviously, now it's a university. So then I thought I wanted to attend law school. Well, that kind of fell through. I may or may not have gotten the best LSAT score. And then Kanawha County Sheriff's Office was hiring. And just thank God, I thank my lucky stars that I applied there, got hired, and I've now been there 20 years.
20 years. And I guess you've done, all the things within the Sheriff's Department. I mean, you've done...
everybody's going to start out in road patrol.
Sure, that's the first thing.
Absolutely.
They throw you on, right?
Absolutely.
Do you remember the first person maybe that you pulled over for a speeding infraction, or the first person you arrested? I don't need their name.
Oh, gosh.
But do you have a memory of that? Because I always thought that first one, I don't know the first. I mean, I know a little about law enforcement because of my friends that are in it, but I would presume that when you go out there, you're not alone. They'll have somebody out there with you. I would guess in your training period. But do you remember that first?
Absolutely, you're out there with training officers for your first couple months.
Okay,
so that would have occurred with them, and they push you doing a lot of traffic stops, trying to get as many arrests and getting involved in as much as you can while you're on that field training program. So to say I remember one that stands out, no, okay. I don't, not at this point.
And are you a Kanawha County native? I mean, you from here?
I am. I attended South Charleston High School.
All right, you're getting all the name drops in there. We got South Charleston and we got West Virginia State. That'll make Frank Mullins the mayor, and that'll also make Eric Cage over at State very happy. Again, we're talking to Anna Pyle, who is the first female chief of detectives in the history of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Their lead paint inspection and risk assessment service designed to identify and to assess the presence of lead-based paint in buildings and other structures, using a 3-phase approach of inspection, sampling, and lab analysis and assessment report. To visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can't hurt you. So explain exactly the role of the chief of detectives. I mean, you hear that a lot. I know, City of Charleston has one in various departments, but I know in law enforcement there's no such thing as an average day, but what does the chief of detectives actually do?
At the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, we have, including myself and the assistant chief of detectives, we've got 12 total. So me and my assistant oversee 10 detectives. So we assign their cases. We get calls from our road patrol officers to tell us, I'm on this type of call. Do you all want to respond? Or they may call and say, we need you to respond. We need your assistance. And in the Detective Bureau, we primarily focus on a lot of the major crimes, the sexual assaults, the child abuse, the homicides, fraud cases. It runs the gamut. And we also investigate misdemeanors.
Right.
But we're definitely, our primary goal is to assist road patrol with any cases they may have. And then, so that's kind of the day-to-day. You're right. It's random. We deal with lots of different scenarios every day.
One of the things that's always interested me, and I've talked to Joe Crawford and former Sheriff Rutherford about this as well, and even to our elected officials that cover Kanawha County. Kanawha County is a big old county.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. And it's a very diverse county too. I mean, some of the problems may be the same, but maybe even the types of people that you deal with in Cabin Creek, Tornado, fill in, not necessarily what you're dealing with in an area like South Hill, South Charleston. I know a lot of that's Charleston City of Charleston Police Department or the various others. But it's a big area with a lot of different types of people.
You're absolutely right. Lots of socioeconomic factors at play there. We've got it divided into 4 different areas. We patrol the west, the east, Elkview area, and the Sissonville area. And imagine that's a lot of square mileage to cover. It
is. And sometimes you're doing it with not as many people as you need on the team, and that's a recurring problem in law enforcement throughout the country. I've talked to several people on the show about that. How do you encourage people to want to do this for a living? Because it's a special. I've always said, Anna, that there's a 3 or 4 or 5 different professions that you got to really want to do it. Being a teacher is one. I think being in the medical field is one, but I also think law enforcement is one too. What do we do to encourage people to take your career path? You said you've done this 20 years, and you thank the Lord above that you were able to do this and make that decision. But how do we sell this to get people to want to do this for a living?
Dave, if you could give me that answer, it would tremendously help with our recruiting.
Right.
It's a major problem nationwide. I wish that I knew the perfect thing to say to give somebody incentive to want to do this. But you're absolutely right. You've got to want to do it. You need a good support with your friends, your family. It can be stressful.
It's very hard on the family.
Right.
I mean, because I've heard an officer one time tell me that when I signed up to be an officer, so did my wife, and so did my kids, and so did my parents, and
True statement.
On down the line. I mean, it's everybody wears a badge in the family, it seems like.
It's very accurate.
Yeah. Are you surprised that it took this long for there to be a female chief of detectives?
No, and that's because there's been lots of great leaders in that position. I mean, there have. I've been surrounded by leaders. I've looked up to many great leaders in my career. And that's not to say there haven't been great females before me. There's going to be great females after me, and they're going to do great things. I was just fortunate that, he was Lieutenant Snuffer, Chief of Detectives at the time. Mm-hmm. He got promoted to Chief of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, and I was next in line, and luckily they felt that I was capable, to take over the position.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck. You're with one of the premier, in my opinion, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm friends with a lot of those folks, but you're one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the state of West Virginia. Under Joe Crawford and of course Sheriff Rutherford before that. Let's see. I guess I'll end it by saying, as far as the female chief of detectives go, I think we'll get to a point, and you said maybe long after you and I are gone, where it's just chief of detectives, and it's not first female chief or second female chief or whatever. It's just chief of detectives, period, and it won't matter.
Yes, it's not going to matter. Right now we are operating on, I'll say, about 105 deputies total, and out of that 105, we have about 5 females. Mm-hmm. So we don't make up much of the department, but hopefully that will grow, and hopefully, females are going to find their niche in this profession, and they're just going to continue to climb.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show and get to know you, Lieutenant Anna Pyle. Now, do you keep the title lieutenant, or is that?
Yes,
okay.
Lieutenant.
You're still Lieutenant Anna Pyle. Okay,
yes.
But you're also the first female chief of detectives for the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department. I appreciate you here. Be safe out there. And the thing about law enforcement, I mean, you folks have my utmost respect for what you do on a daily basis, and I think I speak on behalf of all my listeners. It's just like with a military person when you say thank you for your service. You folks, emergency services, when you're driving an ambulance, driving a police car, whatever, you folks are the real heroes. Keep doing what you do, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Hang out with me here in just 1 second. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Snap Fitness. Snap has a wide selection of equipment, including free weights, cardio, machine weights, and more. They have 5 convenient locations: Charleston, Hurricane, Winfield, Barbersville, and Milton. Visit snapfitness.com for more details. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-5008. We'll take a break, and we'll bring in Greg Thomas a little bit later on in the show. Plus, on the way, about 9:55-ish or so, if those guys are locked in and ready, we'll check in with Wilson and Meadows at the state capitol. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
I was running until I wasn't. My hospital stay would have cost nearly $48,000, even with insurance. But with VA, I'll pay $0. And VA is the best, most affordable healthcare in America for veterans like me. Knowing that my family is waiting at home and a surprise medical bill isn't, that's good for my heart. My service was then, my benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
We all want what's best for our kids. Safe, healthy choices. But some politicians, right here in West Virginia, are going way too far. They're pushing a ban on safe ingredients in our grocery stores. That ban would jack up prices on almost everything we buy. Banning these types of ingredients would eliminate 60% of the food on grocery shelves, hiking prices even more when we're already struggling. Worse, it would cost thousands of jobs all across West Virginia. Governor Morrissey can stop this reckless ban and veto it. We just can't afford it. It goes way too far. There are more sensible solutions. It should be our choice, not the government's. Call Governor Morrissey at 304-558-2000. Tell him to keep growing our economy and stand with hard-working West Virginians at yourcartyourchoice.com. Paid for by Americans for Food and Beverage Choice, with support from the American Beverage Association.
922 Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan. More than $20 billion recovered. They believe that when you're injured, you deserve more. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Ryan Nicholson, the senior producer in charge of things today. Text says, I don't understand the angle of first female this and female that. We shouldn't be so focused on labels. We simply need the best regardless of sex. If she's the best, then she'll do great. Sex shouldn't be a factor. Look, I agree. And that was what I was trying to get by my and I'll give you an example, because to me it always goes back to sports. Everything in my life seems to go back to sports or food. In the 1970s, it was very, very rare to have a black quarterback in the NFL or a black head coach. And a lot of those folks that were trailblazers back then said, I want to get away from that. And I think we have. Because no longer it's not a big deal. I mean, James Harris of the Rams and Chargers was one of the first black quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think in an interview one time he said, look, I just want to be, it's just a quarterback, no matter who they're playing for. And that's where we have become. And I think but I think it's, I'm kind of a history buff too. I think that you should recognize that this is a pretty big deal. I agree in part with what the texter's saying. I really do. But when you have somebody in the entire history of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department and they've never had a female chief of detectives, I think it's pretty dang sweet myself. Text says, congrats to her for the new job and title. It's our new climate now. Are we supposed to celebrate first for different sexes and races? Seems contrary to what's going on in our state and federal government, says a texter. Text says, good interview, good story. Well, I appreciate that. Text says, singular pet peeve. Any female 18 or older is a woman or even a lady. Angie Dickinson was policewoman in the 70s, 50 years ago, not police female. Linda Carter was Wonder Woman, not Wonder Female. Just say the Charleston Police Department wants more women to apply, not more female cops. Semantics, I guess. Okay. All right. Point well taken. Text says, hey, Dave, hear that? It's the collective sound of speakers, earbuds, and car stereos going off. Good morning, Greg Thomas. No, that's not entirely the case. And I got stuff that we can back that up with to tell you that when some of these lightning rods, I call them lightning rods, and I use that in a very, very positive tone. When we have people like a Greg Thomas, like a Mike Pushkin on the show, more people listen. So there. Oh, man, texts are still coming in here. Let me see. Text says ESPN fired Rush Limbaugh because he said the Eagles were eager to seek a black quarterback to succeed Donovan McNabb. Well, that wasn't the only reason Rush Limbaugh got fired from the NFL. And look, I was a Rush fan, but that wasn't the only reason he got fired. But good point by the texter. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Fresh Air Filters of Taze Valley. Fresh Air, your trusted filter experts for both your home or business. 304-440-1104 or visit freshairfilters.us because everyone deserves fresh air. All right, I think we got a caller. All right, let's go to the phones. Welcome to the show. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Okay, yeah, last week, since you got females on the line, or talking about females, who was you referring to last week when you said the crazy cat lady? You remember that?
That was last week, man. You expect me to remember that?
Well, no, yeah.
What did I say? How's that, caller? What did I say?
It was in reference to something going on, and you said, oh, well, it's not like the crazy cat lady. I don't know who you meant.
I don't remember either, but I have nothing against crazy cat ladies. I'm a crazy cat guy. So okay. I don't even know. I'll go back and I'll try to get an answer for you. How's that? Because I don't even remember that. Ryan, do you by any chance, were you producing that day? Do you remember that? Because I don't. Okay. I'll go back and I'll try to get an answer for you. How's that?
Okay. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I honestly don't remember saying that. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I don't remember what I did yesterday, man. Come on. I'm old. Text says, what is a woman? Even our liberal Supreme Court justice could not answer that easy question. Well, I mean, I'm not getting into all that. I had never met Lieutenant, now Chief of Detectives, Pyle until today. I can confirm that she was indeed a woman. She was. Coming up on the show tomorrow, it's Friday, which means a visit from Angie Gillenwater from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association with our Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Plus, let's talk about some weddings. An event going on Sunday here in Charleston, the Hale Street Center Wedding Expo. We'll spend some time talking about that coming up on tomorrow's show. And a quick plug for the news show, Metro News Midday with myself and tonight live in 13 News anchor Amanda Barron. We will go live on this and other Metro News stations starting Monday, noon till 3. A little bit of everything, news and notes, some fun stuff from around the state. Looking forward to it. And again, it will be airing across the Metro News platform coming up on Monday. Lead story this morning, WVMetroNews.com. White Feather and Lance ain't going to see the light of day ever, or at least the light of freedom. Their sentencing yesterday in the courtroom of Judge Mary Claire Akers. They were convicted of 31 of 35 counts of child abuse and neglect, forced labor, and human trafficking, and they got the max yesterday. Gene Whitefeather got 215 years in prison, and Donald Ray Lance got 160 years. Quote from Judge Mary Claire Akers, "You brought these children to West Virginia, a place that I know is almost heaven, and you put them in hell. This court will now put you in yours. And may God have mercy on your soul, because the court will not." The end quote. The counts will run consecutively, and the couple has to pay about $280,000 apiece. Well, good luck with that. And I'm going to give credit, where credit is due. Great job by the prosecuting attorney's office, led by Deb Resnick and her team, as well as the lady I have named Judge Kickass in Mary Claire Akers. It's a horrific story, but it had the best possible sentence, in my opinion. And now I just hope we can move on. But White Feather and Lance, you're not going to move on anywhere. Okay. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Husson's Pizza. This month, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pepperoni calzone, $21.99. Eat in, pick up, or get delivery. Find your Husson's, your favorites, your closest Husson's at Husson'sPizza.com. Text says, it's probably best that you don't remember the things you say. You shouldn't listen to yourself at all. So it's a texter. No, that was aimed specifically at me. Okay, but yeah, okay. It must be something with the first day of spring or the weather or something. The text says, Dave, you confirmed she was actually a woman? Did the legislature bestow genital inspection credentials to you? No, I did not. The crazies are out today, and I mean that in the best possible way. All right, we're going to take a break. Oh, by the way, hold on. If you need some comic relief for this rainy first day of spring, check out the video that was put together by the state Democrats concerning the Republican comments yesterday about changes to the helmet requirements for motorcycles in West Virginia, the proposed changes. I have to give, as I said, I like to give credit is due. This is pretty funny stuff, regardless of the party putting it together. And the Democrats whomever put this together, it's just a medley, if you will, of dumb-sounding things being said by certain members of the legislature yesterday. And dumb things can be said by either party. Trust me, they can. On this show, they've been said, and by this host, for that matter. Just it was one of those just wow moments. Check out the video if you want to know what I'm talking about. I have it posted on my social media. It's on Dave Allen Radio on Facebook and at Dave A70 on Twitter. It was being shared an awful lot last night. I don't even know how to get into this conversation. And look, when it comes to helmets, I'm not a motorcycle rider myself. I think you do you. But that's, if you don't want to wear one, fine. But it was just the arguments that were being made in the chamber just yesterday. They were interesting, to say the least. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Bridge Valley, offering custom-tailored trainings to supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu. Piggly Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Text says, what is a woman? Expensive. That's what they are, says a texter. A texter said that, not me. All right, we're going to take a break. Greg Thomas is here back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
Banking is not just about numbers. It's about people. Are you connected? Without a community bank, your financial journey might feel lonely. And who will you turn to when life gets complicated? From checking accounts to loans, Poca Valley Bank has you covered. We are here to support you with personalized service and genuine care across our 8 locations. Poca Valley Bank, your community bank where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com for more information. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
At Garib Dental Group, we love to see your smile. Take proactive steps towards optimal oral health with our comprehensive preventive care services. Our team of experienced doctors at 6 convenient locations is passionate about keeping your smile healthy and bright. From regular checkups and cleanings to advanced treatment, we are here to prevent dental issues before they start. Visit GaribDentalGroup.com to learn more and experience personalized care tailored to your needs. Garib Dental Group, where your smile receives the care it deserves.
I'm Doug Leach, founder and CEO of Ascension Recovery Services. We've done a number of projects with Jarrett Construction. Finding people that really care about what they do and care about what we do is pretty unique. In Jarrett Construction, they care. They're really, really good people. Good people do the right thing, and they're very skilled. They have all the qualities that make up just a perfect construction partner, and they just build us a phenomenal building.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
At Peyton Law Firm, we fight for every bit of compensation you deserve. You need a law firm that will fight for you. Tom and Harvey Peyton have more than 50 years of combined experience helping West Virginians win millions from greedy insurance companies. Let us spread that success to you, handling injury and wrongful death claims of all types. If your injury is serious to you, it's serious to us. Visit PeytonLawFirm.com and let our family fight for yours.
Yeah. 25 minutes away from 10. Piggly Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. It's going to be a great season. Dirty Birds baseball at Gomart Ballpark. Tuesdays, $2 Tuesdays, $2 tickets, popcorn, hot dogs, soda, and more. Wednesdays, bring your dogs to the park for Woof Wednesday. Thursdays are Thirsty Thursdays, $1 beers and waters. Fridays, Freebie Fridays with free giveaways. Fireworks after the games on Saturdays, and Sundays are family fun days. Kids 12 and under get in for free. For more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Text says, what a miserable audience we have. I'm not a fan of identity politics, but Ms. Pyle had a really good interview and should have been positive and a feel-good story. Thank you for what you do, says a texter. Text says, Dave, the domestic economic pyro-terrorist setting fire to Teslas, destroying others' private property, and calling for the deaths of Musk and Trump have planned what they're calling a Tesla takedown on Saturday, March 29th. They want protests at every one of the 277 Tesla showrooms in the U.S., encouraging protests even in areas that don't have a Tesla showroom, and for protests at Tesla charging stations. Could you get in touch with our local officials and see what they plan to do if these terrorists try to destroy the chargers of Charleston, South Charleston, etc.? And let me tell you, I don't worry a lot about stuff like that in West Virginia. Remember the country singer Jason Aldean, who got all that controversy for Try That in a Small Town? Try that in West Virginia. Which, by the way, you talk about a manufactured controversy when that song came out. And I talked about it on the show. Do you remember that, Greg Thomas?
I do remember.
And people saying, well, he's not really from a small town. Well, I'm sorry, but John Lennon and Paul McCartney also were not walruses, as they sang in, it's a damn song, guys, But anyway,
funny.
how you doing, man?
I'm doing real well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. let me get this out. Just watch that video. Republicans will now propose a bill to remove video and audio from the chamber. Did you see the video?
I didn't have the sound on. I was like doing
Probably
something
better
else,
off.
but I saw I was watching it, and I was watching the sort of subtitle things or whatever. And
this was on the motorcycle thing.
Yeah, I saw it. I think if I were a legislator, I would speak when I really knew something very well, and I don't think a lot of our legislators hold themselves to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people just like to talk, and there are certain people that like the sound of their own voice more than others. And
you got to admit, and again, I know I give credit where credit is. Funny's funny, and I don't care whether I even agree with it or not. If I can admit something's funny, whoever put that video together, and again, you can check it out. It's on Dave Allen Radio, and it's also on @DaveA70 on Twitter, on X. That was pretty funny. I mean, it really was, and the argument. And I said earlier in the show, Greg, if you don't want to wear a helmet, don't wear. I'm not a motorcycle rider. If I were, I'd wear a helmet, but that's just me. I'm not one. If you want to. I think that if you don't wear one, maybe you should forego your insurance claims. Why should we pay for it if you're dumb enough not to wear a helmet?
Wonder if I didn't pay attention to that debate at all. I knew of it, but I didn't pay attention to it. But I bet. Wonder if anybody did come in and say what's your insurance rate's going to be like on?
Yeah.
I mean, I bet they're going to be skyrocketing.
I mean, but and where are we on being able to stand up and ride a motorcycle? That was one of the things that was being again, getting credit where credit is due. Fluharty yesterday, I didn't see it, but somebody played the clip in the office of Fluharty talking about Evel Knievel. And Fluharty said something to the effect, I'm very much paraphrasing, that since we're talking about motorcycles, if you put all of the bad bills that they have tried, that they've discussed, that Evel Knievel wouldn't be able to jump them. Since yesterday apparently was motorcycle day there. So anyway. We start this new show, Greg, next week, and I want the record to show that I did reach out to you about being one of the first guests. Unfortunately, you are going to be out of town.
I am.
And you're not going to be one of the first guests of the new Metro News Midday show. But in order to replace you, I have names like Justice, Morrissey, and Manchin.
Oh.
It took all three of them to replace you.
Well, those are some pretty big names. I think. Look, I've told you before. I mean, you do. I do a lot of talk radio, and not just this market, but around the state, and do a lot of the statewide. And you do a great job with this. I think you're deserving of this new show. I mean, I'm going to be a listener, and obviously appreciate the opportunity to be a guest. And I had some long scheduled travel for next week, or I would have been there, but yeah, man, I'm excited about it. I think it's, look, West Virginia is a community, it's one of the things we probably, back to your small town thing, right? I mean, it's one thing that West Virginians really like to say is we're community based, and you do a good job of that here with this show. I mean, yeah, you have some political guests like me on, but you have government officials, you have law enforcement, you have nonprofits, will you be taking calls? On your
portions
show?
of the show. No, I'm asking you if you want to take them.
Oh,
somebody wants to talk to you.
I'll take calls.
Okay.
I take calls, take texts, whatever.
Okay.
But with your show, are you going to be taking calls?
In certain portions.
Yeah.
Because Amanda Barron is an actual journalist.
Yeah.
She is an actual news person. And sometimes with those, I'll handle the majority of the calls. I'm just saying, I'll probably I'll take care, because
I like that though. I'm on a show in Wheeling, and they take texts but not calls, and it's okay.
Well, talk radio has changed greatly. I mean, since I started doing it, I've only been doing this for 5 years, a talk radio format, and it's changed greatly because there are very, like Sportsline, hotline. They don't take, because people just don't call. They text now.
That's what
people don't call in real life anymore.
That's what the guy in Wheeling tells me. He was like, you had the calls, and he was like, but you got to set up all, you got to have all this technology to be able to do it. And he goes, then nobody calls. He goes, everybody just texts.
But we did. The reason I was asking is because apparently someone has a question. Are you good to take a phone call?
I can do whatever you want.
All right, Ryan. Greg is ready to go. Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, I was calling about basically a little bit off subject. There's a lot of bills running through the state legislature now, and I applaud the efforts of your previous guest, the lady that was the chief detective.
Mm-hmm.
But the sheriff's department, a lot of the state civil service workers are in positions calls the service program. And there's a move amidst the legislature to do away with the civil service program for state workers and other workers. And it really kind of seems like that's a real assault on the state employees and the business of West Virginia doing the right thing. Civil service came along because of the nepotism and the favoritisms, and big business pushes a lot of stuff going on in West Virginia. So you got law enforcement, or you got state workers that do enforcement issues, and big business say, I don't like Susie because she wrote me a ticket for that, and they moved out, or they put their friends in a situation that becomes a real problem. And West Virginia employees and teachers, the law enforcement, we are the low run of pay and benefits as a state on a lot of the things that we should be up higher than. Now and then they take assault on some of the insurance, which insurance is a bad problem anyways, with the PIA. The business of West Virginia is really going to be stuck in the lowest rungs. We don't take care of the teachers, the law enforcement, and the people that make the state go. I don't know if you have any comments on that or any questions on it, but
all right.
Well, you look what's going on.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the call. Thanks a lot. Greg, any thoughts from you on that?
I haven't paid attention to that debate as much. I mean, I do know I think a lot of this is probably a reaction to and look, I think a lot of what's going on in this legislature is a reaction to what's going on sort of nationally, right? I mean, you had the national Democrats push this thing so far to the left on social issues, on the growth of government, on just the tax and spend liberals. I mean, all this money that the department, it created this need, right, for, Elon Musk now working with Trump coming in and doing this Department of Government Efficiency, so I don't know how it translates to the local stuff. What I would say to this caller is just, I think a lot of this is a reaction to, people sitting around listening to talk radio, watching cable news and saying, oh my gosh, look how terrible everything is at the federal level. And I share a lot of those frustrations and concerns. And I think what you've got is those people that, you've got a lot of new legislators that's their perspective, right? I mean, that's where they've gotten a lot of their information is kind of, through this, kind of conservative national media. And then they come to Charleston and it's like, all right, how do I fix this? What do I do? I think there's going to be some good ideas. I think there'll be some bad ideas. But I think as you look, and I'm somebody that works in this for a living, right? So I look at it and say, oh my gosh, how do I go and educate people that don't know a lot about these state issues? They're focused on the national ones. How do I educate them on the state issues so they're making the best decisions? And so, look, to be honest with you, I like the fact that we're having the debate, right? Like, we've been the Democrats had control of this government in West Virginia for 80-something years.
83 years, I think it was.
So 80-something years. Justice ran as a Democrat the first time and won, and then switched parties midway through that. I'm a supporter of Jim Justice. I think he's done a very good job since he's been in D.C., But Justice had like a handful of, there were certain government agencies he really liked, right? I mean, he was really into economic development. He was really into tourism, energy, things like that. But there's a lot of stuff he didn't really pay that much attention to. I think bills like this are to address that, like, okay, they were in charge for a long time. We're here now. How do we best run this? And I think that's where bills like this, the concept of those have been originated.
14 away from 10. Vaccines are your best protection against severe disease from flu and COVID-19. If you're 65 or older, risk less, do more with this season's vaccines. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Ryan, I think we have a call for Greg. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on with Greg Thomas.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
This is Bill from Dunbar.
Yes, sir.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
And I want to talk to your guy here who purports to be a grassroots campaign and launches, represents the people. But isn't the Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse really a front group for Republicans in the Big Pharma and the National Chamber of Commerce. And actually, aren't you funded by the National Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, so the West Virginia Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse is a grassroots organization, in West Virginia. We've got over 20,000 members, taxpayers, small business owners, consumers, that highlights the problems within our legal system here in West Virginia. Obviously, we are associated with a national organization called the American Tort Reform Association. That they have, there are major employers, healthcare providers, a lot of different people that support that organization. As and I know you're associated with personal injury lawyers here in the state. And so, we had a huge problem where the personal injury lawyers ran our state, labor unions, personal injury lawyers ran the state for decades. Widely known that we have the lowest workforce participation rate in the country, very low education attainment, all those different things, because we just had the worst business climate in the country for decades. So over the past decade, over the past couple decades, we've supported legal reform in the state. We helped to fix the state Supreme Court, creation of the Intermediate Appellate Court. We've passed dozens of legal reform bills. Over the last decade, our economy's gotten better, right? The economy got better. We've gotten more jobs. The economy
better for who though?
For every single person living in the state, other than big.
Accurate. I don't think that's accurate. If I could finish my thought.
Go ahead.
What personal injury law firm do you work at? Which personal injury law firm do you work at?
But you really are against the people and the working people who try to, when they're injured, they need to make claims to recover from their injury, and you oppose all that.
Name one person for me that hasn't been able to file a lawsuit. You guys come in here. You guys ride. You probably drive. Do you drive a BMW or a Mercedes or a Porsche? Which one do you drive?
Well, neither one. I'm neither. I'll tell you that I'm a working man, and I'm just getting by paycheck to paycheck. And I know you're a fraud.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Bill,
good
we
job.
appreciate your phone call. I appreciate it. It's 9:49.
That's funny. Look, everybody knows. We all know what the personal injury lawyers have done to the state. We've tried to fix this stuff. And now that these guys have, these guys now are out here supporting Republicans. These guys are out here now giving to all the Republican candidates. So this whole support the little guy, all that stuff, you guys don't care about that. You care about getting paid. You care about making money. You care about, the personal injury lawsuit greed is what drives it. We pushed back. We got in control. We started to get things back on track, had the largest tax cut in state history, growing the economy. And, these guys, they weren't making enough money, right? 2 houses wasn't enough. They need 3, and they're back at it, and they're giving money to Republicans in the legislature.
Talking to Greg Thomas, a couple texts, actually a few texts, going back to Tesla. These Tesla haters need to leave people's Teslas alone and let the cars fall apart on their own. They're cheaply made, overpriced hype cars. Let nature take its course, says the texter. Text says, great, Morrissey, Manchin, and Jimbo, so we're going to get talked at. Greg may say some misguided things, but at least he talks to us. Well, Morrissey is the governor, and so he's going to have time. Manchin, former U.S. Senator, former governor, Secretary of State, legislator, he's got stuff to say. Jimbo, U.S. Senator, Senator Justice, I should say. I was just using the language.
Well, maybe they'll take some texts.
Don't count on it. Text says, West Virginia has led the way against Tesla for years, which operates under a direct-to-consumer model, meaning they do not have traditional dealerships or service centers in West Virginia. In fact, West Virginia legislature has long banned Teslas from having direct sales and service centers in West Virginia. You can still buy them online, have them delivered, but West Virginia figured this scam out years ago, says a texter. Text says, Dave, when you speak to Manchin, please ask him his thoughts on his former party members' despicable behaviors at Trump's speech, defending a Hamas supporter and angry that illegals are finally being removed from our country. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. It's a great podcast. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, under the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you looking for a technical job in the medical field? Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
I'm John Carruthers, the owner of Best Virginia Heating and Cooling. I'm born and raised right here in West Virginia. I've got 3 daughters, so I absolutely care who comes into my home. Every technician we send to your home has been drug tested and background checked. I guarantee the best client experience or your money back. We have the best team and the best processes built around a 5-star experience. Call Best Virginia today at 681-655-1214.
It's Sydney, and it's time for some spring cleaning at the new Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. It's your final chance to grab the last of the 24s. Get behind the wheel of the sleek Toyota Prius, sporty Corolla SE, rugged Tacoma SR5, and introducing the all-new 25 Toyota Land Cruiser. But that's not all. Make a clean sweep with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty on certified Toyota and pre-owned selections. Don't wait. Ready, set, go to Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial. Expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to keep yours.
Heart Royal Flush Tour 2025. Saturday, March 29th, Charleston Coliseum. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. The iconic band returns with special guest Cheap Trick. Tickets on sale now at heart-music.com. Heart with Cheap Trick, live, produced by AEG Presents.
Foundation issues? Wet basement? Drainage problems? Contact Foster Foundation Repair. Locally owned and operated by a licensed professional engineer, Foster Foundation Repair provides rock-solid service with certified results. Contact us today for a free evaluation. Foster Foundation Repair. Rock-solid service. Certified results. FosterFoundationRepair.com. West Virginia Contractor License WV061105.
7 minutes away from 10. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Text says the reason the motorcycle montage is so funny is because those people stood up and said really stupid things. Don't stand up and say dumb things on live video and you won't get montages made of you. Those House members embarrass Republicans statewide, says a texter. Text says, Dave, Greg Thomas is a broken clock. You can take random sound bites from interviews with him over the last few years, put them into a lotto ball machine, pull them at random, and it would make the same interview over and over again. Get a new pitch, Mr. Thomas. Text says, will you still have a morning show? Yeah, this show's not going anywhere. I'm just expanded a little bit. Text says, because there's a whole lot of people with multiple houses who could afford to have a few less and be perfectly fine. Does a person really need to make $500 million? Yes. Yes, a person does. If this is America, I have no issue at all somebody making $500 million. Yeah, absolutely. They need to. I can't with that, Greg. When people say, do they really need? Damn right they do, because it's America. God bless the USA.
It's a free market. It's the greatest economy that's ever existed in the history of the world.
All right, so let's talk about the legislature. Now, let's talk about some of the bills. And again, you saw what happened with the WVU thing, and you saw the governor and the attorney general talking about that. Yeah. And Mr. McCuskey was on the show and says people can do more things than one at once. I think that's a good point, and I've been one that's been very negative about that. But overall, what do you think about the session overall?
It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I mean, I do think there's a lot of these legislators have this, need to address the social issues because of how far the national Democrats kind of lurch to the left. And kind of what we were told over the last few weeks, right, was like, hey, we have this you guys have been so focused on the economy over the last 10 years, including legal reform, our last caller, so focused on legal reform over the last 10 years and taxes and business stuff. We've got some pent up social conservative bills we want to run. And that's what they were doing in the first few weeks. And then we were told it was like, well, now we're going to, the first month is social conservative bills and then we'll get to everything else. So we actually had some pro-jobs bills brought up. We had a couple legal reforms brought up in the State Senate Judiciary Committee, and they were defeated. The personal injury lawyers have given hundreds of thousands of dollars to Republican candidates around the state.
Which is a switch.
It's the first time that's, the first time that's really happened. Patricia Rucker took $25,000 from personal injury lawyers in the last campaign. She sort of led the charge. She kind of de facto runs the state Senate. And she, grabbed a handful of people that follow her off the cliff on that stuff. They voted against two very pro-jobs bills. And we're pretty disappointed with that. I mean, I think We're hoping to see more pro job stuff. Morrissey's got a couple pro jobs bills that are pretty good. He's got one on permitting, one on licensure. They came out and they've got this microgrid bill that they're dealing with that would bring in a data center, which I'm really hopeful that they'll do. But there's other stuff too that, they haven't done anything on BRIM. They haven't made any adjustments on PEIA.
BRIM being the Board of Risk
Insurance Management.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems with that. And we need some major changes there, to keep that program kind of solvent and working properly. And so I think they did the vaccine. They've been working on the vaccines. They did the boys and girls sports thing. There's been some of that stuff come through. I know Chairman Mike Stewart and Senate Judiciary's, been big on the child welfare stuff and bringing that up. So there's some other stuff they're working on.
But when are we going to get there, though, Greg?
And that's sort of what I was getting to there, right? Is the time's now for this,
TikTok,
right?
man, TikTok.
The time is now. I mean, they really need to make a move on some of these sort of bigger issues. I don't really see any big home runs coming through, but look, these guys could put a series of doubles together and still come out of this and say it was a pretty good session, but they need to double down on that to get there, because I think as of right now, this has not been a great session. I still think they could make it a good one, but they're in danger of it not being good at all.
Really quick, and then I'm going to go to Wilson Meadows at the Capitol. Did you see my childhood friend, Ruby Phillips, who referred to Governor Morrissey as the gentleman from New Jersey? He's the second one that's done that. Give me 20 seconds, and we'll go to the Capitol.
I think Morrissey's going to have to spend some time after this session, really getting around and reconnecting with legislators. I mean, I think he did a good job of that on the campaign. I think that's something that he needs to do. And look, the legislature is going to need to work with him too. It's just a matter of figuring out this new relationship.
All right, so let's go to the Capitol. Wilson and Meadows, you're up. What's on the show today?
Well, coming up, apparently we needed a ratings boost today. Mike Pushkin will join us at 10:06. We'll get his thoughts on Senate Bill 460. That's a very watered-down version of the vaccine exemption bill. Later on, we'll also talk to Jonathan Pinson over the House of Delegates. Several child welfare bills are being taken up in committee, and apparently later on, Dave Allen and Amanda Barron are going to stop by.
Yeah, we're going to do a run-in, as we say in the wrestling business. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, guys, we'll be listening 10:06. Thanks a lot.
All right, talk to you after a bit.
All right, Mr. Thomas, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate the opportunity, man. Good luck with your show next week.
All right, that you will not be on.
Week two.
We'll have you week two.
Week two, we'll get on.
We'll have you on. All right. Thank you so much. Coming up on the show tomorrow, our Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association. Plus, talk a little weddings. The Hale Street Center Wedding Expo coming up on Sunday. Calls and texts, of course, coming up on the show as well. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes. A WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.